Security was tight ahead of President Hamid Karzai's visit to Argo district in northeastern Afghanistan. Karzai traveled to the remote area 6 days after a landslide destroyed much of the village of Barik. Speaking to a group of survivors, he promised them they would be taken care of. But at one point, a man stood to confront the president, telling him he had lost everything in the landslide and that his family has barely been able to survive since. He then threw his turban to the ground, a dramatic sign of protest, which in Afghan culture symbolizes a loss of dignity before God. Karzai assured the man he would be taken care of, but didn't say how. As the president left the area, we asked him what the government intended to do.
It's now 6 days since this deadly landslide. Of course, many people here are still in fairly difficult situations. What have you promised them in the days ahead?
3 very specific things. 1, emergency assistance, of which there's a lot, fortunately. 2nd, those who wish to have their buried loved ones, relatives, taken out of under the soil, and most important of all, to resettle them and to give them new homes.
But those living in tents and those who have received little aid say they aren't convinced, including Juma Gul. He's the man who confronted President Karzai. Gul lost 10 members of his family in the landslide. His home and farmland are also buried under several meters of mud and rock. This tent is now the only shelter he has.
I threw my turban in front of President Karzai because he knows God is a witness to our suffering. We can't even get a bottle of water here. For God's sake, what is going on?
It's clear the government still has a long way to go to convince those who've been displaced by the landslide that not only will they receive aid, but in the long term, that they will help them rebuild their lives. Imtiaz Tyab, Al Jazeera, Barik, northeastern Afghanistan.